In the heart of a forgotten village, nestled between jagged cliffs and a relentless, howling wind, lived a young man named Elian. His eyes carried the weight of dreams too big for the narrow streets he walked. The village mocked him, their laughter sharp as the stones underfoot. "Elian, the dreamer," they sneered, "chasing shadows while we toil." But Elian's heart burned with a vision, to climb the unclimbable Mount Varnath, a towering beast of rock and ice that had defeated every soul who dared its slopes. Elian wasn't born strong. His hands were calloused not from strength but from sweeping the bakery floors to feed his ailing mother. Each night, he stared at Varnath's silhouette against the moon, its peak a cruel taunt. "You're nothing," it seemed to whisper. "Stay small." Yet, something inside Elian refused to listen. He wanted to prove, not to the village, but to himself, that he could rise. His first attempt was a disaster. With a borrowed rope and boots too big, Elian barely reached the first ridge before a gust threw him back, bruising his body and spirit. The villagers' laughter echoed louder. "Go back to your broom, boy," they jeered. Elian's mother, frail but fierce, clutched his hand. "The mountain doesn't care about your falls," she said. "It only respects those who keep climbing." Her words became his anchor. Elian began training in the pre-dawn chill, when the world was still asleep. He hauled sacks of flour to build his strength, ran through the forest until his lungs screamed, and studied the mountain's crevices by candlelight. Sleep became a stranger, sweat, his closest friend. Every muscle ached, every doubt clawed at his mind. "What if I'm not enough?" he whispered to the stars. But each morning, he rose again, driven by a fire no failure could extinguish. Months bled into years. Elian's body transformed, lean, hardened, unyielding. Yet the mountain loomed larger, its storms fiercer. His second attempt came on a bitter winter day. He climbed higher this time, fingers numb, heart pounding. But a hidden crevasse swallowed his footing, and he slid, rope snapping, tumbling down with a cry that echoed through the valley. The village waited for him to quit. Even his mother's eyes held worry now. "Elian," she said softly, "is it worth your life?" He didn't answer. He couldn't. The mountain wasn't just rock, it was every doubt, every fear, every voice that told him he'd fail. To quit was to let them win. So, he trained harder. He learned to read the wind, to grip ice without flinching, to trust his own hands over his trembling heart. The village stopped laughing. They watched in silence now, unsure if he was mad or something more. The third climb came on a dawn so clear it felt like fate. Elian stood at the base, the mountain's shadow swallowing him whole. His pack was heavy, his body scarred, but his eyes blazed with something unbreakable. Step by step, he ascended. The wind howled, tearing at his clothes. Rocks crumbled under his grip. Hours stretched into an eternity of pain and will. At the final ridge, a storm roared to life, as if Varnath itself was fighting back. Lightning cracked, ice pelted his face, and the peak vanished in a shroud of white. "Give up," the wind screamed. Elian's hands bled, his legs shook, but he thought of his mother's words, of every dawn he'd risen, every fall he'd endured. "I am enough," he growled, and with a final, desperate lunge, he pulled himself onto the summit. The storm parted, and there it was, the world below, vast and endless, bathed in golden light. Elian stood, chest heaving, tears freezing on his cheeks. He hadn't just climbed a mountain, he'd conquered the voice that said he couldn't. The village was silent when he returned. No jeers, no laughter. They saw not the boy they'd mocked, but a man who'd carved his own path. Elian didn't boast, he didn't need to. His scars told the story. Word of his climb spread, and soon, others came, not to mock, but to ask, how? Elian's answer was simple: the mountain doesn't give you success. You earn it. Step by painful step. Fall, bleed, rise, repeat. There's no shortcut. Years later, when Elian's hair grayed and his mother's chair sat empty, children gathered at his feet, wide-eyed, as he spoke of Varnath. "Success isn't a gift," he told them, voice steady as stone. "It's a fight. It's waking when you're broken, working when you're tired, believing when no one else does. The mountain is in you, climb it." And as those children grew, some climbed their own mountains, exams, dreams, fears, because Elian's story lived in them. It wasn't about the peak, it was about the climb. About hard work forging something no storm could break. The village, once a place of doubt, became a beacon of dreamers who knew, success isn't found. It's built.